On the behalf of Indian Council of Agriculture Research, Central Institute for Research on Cattle, on the webinar, the Natural Livestock Farming 5-Layer Strategy for Optimizing the Smallholders Dairy Enterprise, that is strengths, weaknesses, relevance, and prospects. Today's speaker is Dr. Katrien. Dr. Katrien is a well-known Dutch veterinarian and she is working on the natural livestock farming. She will be speaking on different aspects of these, and I welcome the eminent audiences like Professor MP Yadav, former Vice Chancellor, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, University of Agriculture and Technology, and former Director, Indian Veterinary Research Institute, and Professor Balakrishnan Nair, Madam Chanda Nemkar, Madam Hema Tripathi, and representative from GCCI and many others. I welcome and I hand over it to Director Dr. Abhijit Mitra for the formal welcome and introduction of the speaker.
Well, good morning to everyone. Today's speaker, Dr. Katrien, from far off land, and Professor MP Yadav sir, Madam Chanda Nemkar ji, Dr. Hema Tripathi ji, Dr. Amitabh ji, and Dr. Nair, and all those eminent and my friends and colleagues who have joined from different university as well as from this institute. It's a very proud moment for all of us to have with us today Dr. Katrien, which is a Dutch veterinarian working for nearly 30 years in the field work as well as the dairy farmer in the various part of the world. I had an opportunity to had a first time or one-to-one interaction with her during one of our another senior colleague, Professor Punyamurthy, when he delivered a lecture on ethno-veterinary medicine. And then I could see that Katrien had a similar interest or has a more interest on that. She is very passionate in combining the technical expertise in dairy production system with innovative methodological approaches. In 2011, she founded a Dutch farm experience, and then she had been a series of successful international exchange program involving India, Uganda, Ethiopia, and many other countries. And she worked on Foundation for Natural Livestock Farming. And I must tell you, for last couple of days, I have got so many mail and telephone call and WhatsApp messages from many people who are either known to Katrien personally or heard about her or lecture in one or the other occasion. When in a country like India, where we are talking about cow as a source of income, source of socio-cultural and religious perspective, and we as an institute, we are trying to make a slogan, cow beyond milk, so that it is not only limited to milk and milk products. The tremendous to explore, like a cow dung, cow urine, and many other things. We'll not elaborate on that, but more importantly, in the peasant's perspective, in the one health program, when we are talking about the health of whole planet in a one go. At the same time, we are also threatened by global warming and antimicrobial resistance. These are the havoc, and probably report of IPCC, which says that if we don't take a sustainable effort and intervention by 2030, then it would be too late to do anything. So precisely, we are having very less time left. And in this context, it is much more important to have Dr. Katrien among us, and she would be speaking the natural livestock farming 5-layer approach, work for cattle health, productivity, milk quality, as well as the farmer income. Katrien, you must have heard the conversation which I had with Madam Chanda Nimkarji. I think you heard that. It was very also coincidental, very great that she is one of the lady who is working since quite a long time single-handedly for sustainable livestock farming. And as a student, you know, we sometime had a lot of interaction with her. And one of the book actually her husband presented her today or yesterday, which was written by you, and
No.
coincidentally she is here. So this is a kind of a, you know, connected we are having. So not speaking much on this, I again welcome all of you, and I leave it to Dr. Katrien. The stage is yours, Katrien. Time is yours. Please.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be invited for this lecture, and very happy to be able to present natural livestock farming to such an esteemed audience and such an esteemed organization. And so with that, I hope to let me share screen. I think it's not completely the way it should be. Can you see now?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I can go ahead anyway. Okay. So today, as indicated, I want to present this lecture on natural livestock farming 5-layer strategy, optimizing the smallholder dairy enterprise, strengths, weaknesses, relevance, and prospects. So I'm a veterinarian. I've worked in different parts of the world. Importantly in Latin America. This is a smallholder Latin American dairy farmer, but also with dairy farmers in the Netherlands, and also actively involved with India and African countries. And so that is where this experience comes from. Not from my mind alone, as it has come from collaborating with so many different organizations and farmers together. So just in brief, why should we look at natural livestock farming? Well, actually we have—
Are you moving the slide? I'm extremely sorry. Are you moving the slides?
Yes, I've moved the slide.
But it is not moving.
It's not moving. Oh,
right.
If I do it like this, can you see?
Now we can see.
Now you can
okay.
see?
Now it is okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for this. It's just something wrong. Anyway, so we have developed as a group expertise for effective support to dairy farmers, especially to reduce the use of antibiotics and other chemicals. But we are focused a lot of on antibiotics. And we have done this both for smallholder dairy farming and large-scale dairy farmers. And we have seen that there are many results, especially in both quality and quantity of milk, also farm income and reduction of antibiotic residues. So it is expertise that has come together from different countries, and that we are focusing on reducing antibiotic use and improved cattle health. So why is antimicrobial resistance and antibiotic use important? It is actually because both antibiotics used in humans and animals, they come through the environment, and resistant genes can come from animals through the manure to the environment and from there to humans, and also the other way back. So there is a continuous threat of antimicrobial resistance if we continue to use antimicrobials in animal health in a not correct way. And why is this important? Well, if we don't, I assume most of you know this, but if we don't use antibiotics and also dewormers, insecticides, and antifungal chemicals, if we don't use them in the correct way, they will not be they will be ineffective. And that is for both humans and animals alike. So then we can't make use of them. But also importantly, local dairy markets can collapse if the local consumers don't trust the quality of the milk, and they think that there are residues in the milk. The local dairy markets can collapse, and people from cities don't want to use the milk from local farmers. So that is really a major problem and a threat. And then it will affect farmer livelihoods and country economics. So that is why, as natural livestock farming, we are focusing on healthy animals and reducing the use of antibiotics, because the animals are healthy. You don't need that many antibiotics anymore. From there, you have residue-free products and healthy people, but also because the animals don't, there's no residues in the manure and the urine, there's also a healthier environment. So that is why we are saying that natural livestock farming is a practical contribution to One Health. And that is why what you're saying, Dr. Mitra, is so important. The One Health issue and the climate change issue are all interlinked. And we hope to contribute to that from a healthy cow perspective. So where did we start? Well, we started actually a long time ago in the 1990s when we were on a joint conference in Pune, actually, on ethno-veterinary medicine. But our active involvement related to reducing antibiotic use started in 2014 with an exchange program. And you will recognize here Professor Punyamurthy, Dr. Nair. It was an exchange program between the Netherlands and India with the topic, the use of herbs to reduce antibiotic needs in livestock farming. And that was actually also because in the Netherlands, there was a new law that we needed to reduce antibiotic use in dairy, in livestock production for 70%, 7-0. And so farmers and veterinarians in the Netherlands suddenly were open to new initiatives and new ideas. So that is why they were interested to come to India and to learn about herbs and herbal medicine and ethno-veterinary practices. And they were so impressed with what they saw in India. And they, since then, they have been motivated to implement that in the Netherlands. So the Indians also came to the Netherlands here, they visited Dutch farms. But we also saw that only the use of herbal medicine or herbs is not enough for cattle health. So we started to include other countries as well, in this case, Ethiopia and Uganda, on the topic of breeding. Because we saw if you continue to crossbreed with HF, it cannot always, it can result in problems. So we need to include good breeding and good animal management as well. So and there, in that situation, we saw also that we need to amplify our focus not only on reduced use of antibiotics, but also on the reduced use of acaricides. Because in this case here in Uganda, the ticks also had to become resistant against acaricides. That was a major problem in Uganda. So we amplified our strategy not only to reduce the use of antibiotics, but also of acaricides, insecticides, dewormers. And altogether, between those the different partners that were involved, we developed this, what we call the natural livestock farming 5-layer strategy. And that is the topic today. And the 5-layer strategy composes of, first of all, and on the basis is good animal management and good farm management. So everything related to feeding, housing, feed production, soil management, all of that is included into this very basic layer. Then the second layer is breeding. So how can we use local breeds? How can we do strategic breeding for resilient animals that are apt to be productive within their environment and environmental limitations or difficulties? And the third layer is the use of medicinal plants. So that is ethno-veterinary practices, but also herbs in grassland, herb products based on herbs. So everything related to herbs is the third layer, very important. And there the most expertise comes from India. And the fourth layer we found it is very important is milk quality control on residues. In many countries that is not in place. So it is very important to have that kind of milk quality control in order to have a system that that guarantees consumers not to have residues in their milk, residue-free milk, and other products, by the way. And the fifth layer is extra income or farm economics. Now that of course is an all encompassing layer, and it includes both cost reduction and extra income because of more productivity and of so the better life for the farmer. Of course that also includes as you mentioned cultural, spiritual, all those elements. But the economics are always very important in that as well. So this is what we call the natural livestock farming 5-layer approach. And that is what we want to continue looking at today. So on basis of this approach, we said, let us now collaborate between the 4 countries that were involved in the exchange, which is India, Netherlands, Ethiopia, and Uganda. And because then you combine a variety of farming systems. So you combine knowledge from a variety of farming systems, but you also combine knowledge from a variety of knowledge systems. So it is farmers' knowledge, it is Western science knowledge, it is Ayurveda science, it is all these different knowledge systems which together we need in order to build up this expertise that is necessary to promote animal health and reduce the use of antibiotics in an effective way. And so it is important that we start with expertise from the grassroots, which is from farmers, veterinarians, other livestock scientists, but always with scientific backup. So we do a bottom-up approach based on farmers' situation and challenges, but and then we experiment with the 5-layer approach. But we do a scientific backup always. And then with that basis, we pilot with the implementation of this 5-layer strategy. This is the basic approach that we have been doing since 2000 for a couple of years. So these are the people involved in the board and direct organization. You will recognize Dr. Nair, Professor Punyamurthy from India, of course, as Natural Livestock Farming India, which includes Transdisciplinary University and Glom Siva. I assume you all know them. They're very, as Professor Punyamurthy also presented last time. Then we have from Ethiopia, we have the Ethiopian Society of Animal Production, a very big organization within the Ethiopian context. We have in the Netherlands 2 organizations, including Wageningen University and WECOM as NLF Netherlands, which is of course large-scale dairy farming in the Netherlands. We have in Uganda a farming cooperative. It's called Lake Maburo Farmer Cooperative Society. So that is a smaller initiative there. And recently we have a new initiative with Latin America and Chile. So these are people involved, but of course in each of the countries there are many more people involved in the direct activities. But these are the people that are responsible for the exchange. So let me give a very brief overview of what has happened since over the last 6-7 years in the different countries based on this concept. And let me start with India, where you, of course, you know the situation with the smallholders and the HF crossbreeding and the high antibiotic use that you used to have there, and the free over-the-counter sales, which our farmers and veterinarians, when they came to India, they were really surprised to see this. But they were also surprised to see that the farmer can earn income from 5 cows. And they were really impressed with your system of local milk collection centers and the big factories. They were really, really impressed. So, but what they also saw at TDU and Glom Siva, but at TDU at that time, the big work that has been done on the documentation and validation of veterinary herbal remedies. Big work and very important organization. And so the farmers and veterinarians who came from the Netherlands were so impressed with that. And of course, they were also very much impressed with this implementation strategy. You know about that, I assume, that because first the identification of the ethno-veterinary practices and the prioritization of the animal health conditions, and then the documentation of these practices, and then the desk research literature, the rapid assessment activities, and then the identification of safe and efficacious remedies, and the promotion and training vets and farmers and the home herbal gardens. Big work that has been done by TDU and Glom Siva also. This is the remedy for mastitis that has been very effective, and the acute mastitis recovery has been noticed of 97%, subclinical 82%, chronical 87% recovery rate. Our farmers and veterinarians were especially astonished to have such an effective mastitis treatment external, and because here in the Netherlands we are used to internal antibiotic use through syringes, but here they saw that it could be effective with external herbs, so they were very surprised. Also, the remedies for fever, I will not go into details, of course, water and other pox, all big work by TDU, bloat, indigestion, all these. So over the years, what they have been able to reach, there's now this nationwide training of veterinarians and farmers with the National Dairy Development Board. That is really a major impact. Also because a National Dairy Development Board policies include already animal management and feeding improvements and all of that. So the input from TDU was more on the ethnovet practices. So this is a feedback from NDDB on over 500,000 cases on the efficacy of all those clinical the clinical conditions and the ethnoveterinary treatments. And these are the clinical recoveries. I don't know if you can see the numbers, but the average of those clinical recoveries is 81%. Very high clinical recovery from only effective ethnoveterinary treatments based on this whole practice. And also importantly, the antibiotic residues in milk samples 1 year after training had also been reduced, 87%. No, yeah. So that is also very high. And importantly, also the costs for farmers for the different disease conditions and the amount of money saved for those smallholder farmers, very important result is that the average amount saved is over 70%. So that motivates farmers to use this kind of products and to promote them amongst themselves. So that was India, but let us now, you are more aware of the Indian situation, of course, but we also did the same similar work in Ethiopia. Also, smallholder peri-urban dairy situation is quite similar to Indian dairy. The animals inside, farmers, many female dairy farmers, and the focus we had in Ethiopia, it was a product. It was a project funded by the Dutch government. It was called Healthy Cows, Healthy Food, and it was a pilot project between 2018 and 2020. And it combined improving cattle health in these peri-urban dairy farms and laboratory capacity because on residues in milk. And by improving the cattle health and by taking milk samples before and after, we could establish the outcome in terms of milk quality control to see whether it had improved and whether the milk quality had improved in these farms. So the staff was trained in the Netherlands on laboratory capacity, on various issues related to milk quality, bacterial count, somatic cell count, various bacteria, antimicrobial resistance, and the residues. So they were well trained, and supplies were sent to Ethiopia as well. And at farm level, we did participatory analysis with the farmers of the major health problems. That is a methodology you can use with farmers that are illiterate also, especially female farmers. It really works well. And it's called the NLF Wheel of Animal Health and Well-Being. And you ask farmers to put beans on the different animal health aspects where they feel that they have most problems or where they want to have more emphasis on. It's a really good methodology for especially with illiterate farmers. And we did also a training on herbal medicine. Here you can recognize Professor Punyamurthy, Dr. Nair. Oh, here is Dr. Nair. They trained the farmers on the ethnoveterinary practices. Here you can see the mastitis treatment. So that was a very important activity within that project. And another important activity in that project was on animal management, and especially on calf care, because we found in this participatory analysis that they had a 60% calf mortality, really high calf mortality. They didn't give, there was a problem with colostrum giving, all of those things. So a Dutch dairy farmer came and she trained the farmers on calf care. And also there was a training on hoof trimming. And that really gave a good impact at farm level. So now the outcome of that project in terms of milk quality was that that there was a reduced number of E. coli, and by say 50%, and also Staphylococcus aureus. And also the milk quality had improved in terms of fats, protein, lactose, solid fat, and density. So and that was compared to comparable dairy farmers without the project. But importantly, we also saw that there was a reduction of antibiotic residues in the milk, but importantly also a 50% increase in milk quantity, so in the amount of milk, and a 33% increase in farm income, a 60% reduction of calf mortality, and important reduction of average costs in cattle health. And we also saw that it spread amongst the farmers by themselves, especially the herbal medicine, also the hoof trimming and the calf care. The word was spread amongst farmers themselves because of the effect. And that was really a very positive outcome. And now it will be upscaled within the SNV dairy program in Ethiopia. It will be upscaled to, if I'm not mistaken, to around 70,000 dairy farmers. We will try to implement this methodology there as well. So in Uganda, it's a different situation because the cattle are kept outside. And one of the major problems is, as I indicated, with ticks and tick-borne diseases, and a very high use of acaricides for tick control, and a very high use of antibiotics because of East Coast fever, which is a disease, a very serious disease transmitted by the ticks. But importantly, because of the very high use of the acaricide, indiscriminate use of acaricide, the ticks have become increasingly resistant, and it's really a major problem. So they have a huge environmental problem in terms of biodiversity loss, but also there is no control of chemical residues in the milk. Or that's what we found 5 years ago. As far as I know, that's not yet been solved, this problem. And so what we did was to pilot herbal alternatives and applications for tick control with SNV in Uganda, which is a Dutch organization that promotes dairy farming in Uganda. And so we had, again, a visit of Dr. Nair, Dr. Punyamurthy, and he promoted and experimented with a herbal treatment based on their remedies. So there were promising result with a trial that was done with NARO, which is the National Research Institute in Uganda. But it was stopped because of disputes between different organizations, and it was not continued, unfortunately. But the herbal garden initiative was picked up, and I'm quite sure we will be able to continue this pilot and this work on herbal remedies for tick control, because it's really an important topic. And so the current activities in Uganda with the Legenburo Farmers Cooperative Society are more related to marketing. They have a community milk tank, quite a bit similar to what you have in India, but it's not nationally organized there. And they make the yogurt. They also do a strategic crossbreeding with Blackfee. They're trying that out, and restocking their local Angola Longhorn cattle, which is the cattle with these long horns you saw in previous pictures. So that is Uganda. And finally, very briefly about the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, of course, we have large-scale dairy farming, but still we also have problems in cattle health, especially related to mastitis, calf diarrhea, and hoof problems. The hoof problems measured because of too much concentrates and animals suffering from digestive disorders. And we had a decree in 2012 obliging the sector to reduce antibiotic use by 70%. And it is good to say that it was successful to do that. So that was the reason why the veterinarians were so interested in farmers to come to India in 2014. So NLF in the Netherlands is actually in the Netherlands, that's a whole story in itself. But we are in a big transition, and actually the Dutch dairy farming is in a huge crisis. And we are making the transition from very intensive dairy farming to an agriculture and a dairy farm with a minimal damage to the environment, because we have huge environmental problems. This requires another strategy in terms of dairy farming as well, but also new farmer veterinary interactions. And there is an increased use of herbal products and herbal medicine. So what is NLF in the Netherlands doing in that context? Well, one of the things that is now coming up very strong is herbs in grassland, because the individual treatment with herbs, as you do in India with the smallholder farmers, that in mastitis case, for example, that was very difficult in our Dutch situation. It's too labor intensive, although it did work in the field of calf diarrhea. But most activities are related to herbal grasslands, and that requires a big change in the farming system and also in the breeding, as you can see. It's not only HF here. So NLF in the Netherlands engaged in training farmers and veterinarians on these herbs and grasslands, but also on herbal products. There are many products in the market based on herbs, but it is not controlled. So the safe use of herbal products is really an important topic that has been dealt or that they are working on. And also there is a request for the natural control of worms and ticks. So also natural control of ticks is an important, especially related to climate change. It is an increasingly problem here in the Netherlands as well. And so there are different projects and activities related to phytotherapy for students. There's a biodiversity project. So there are different organizations, and these are farmers' books on different species with the use of safe use of herbal products that are in the market. That has been produced by Wageningen University. And finally, in Latin America, we just recently started, but that is also with large-scale dairy farmers, cattle outside. So there's much work to be done there as well. They have big challenges with calf diarrhea also. So now your question was, when you asked me for this seminar, is to present the strengths and weaknesses, relevance and prospects of natural livestock farming. So I've tried to list them, but I'm sure Dr. Nair can add to it, as he is, of course, expert in this as well. So I've tried to list here first the strengths. I think a strength of our approach is that it is an integrated approach. It combines the different elements that are really important for farmers, and it is also very practical. It is bottom up with veterinarians and farmers, and it provides solutions, practical solutions based on the priorities of farmers and both smallholder and large scale. And of course, smallholders have different priorities than large-scale farmers, but we can look at them from this. With this methodology, we can provide solutions for both systems. We also have proof of concept. As I showed in India, we have proofs of concept of the efficacy of ethno-veterinary practices. Residues in milk have been reduced 88% and 72% reduced farm expenditures. So we have proof of concept in India and also in Ethiopia. 60% reduced calf mortality, 50% increased milk quantity. So there is a lot of proof of concept, both in milk quality and quantity and animal health. And there is growing support and interest. So we have quite some strength that we can offer. Of course, we also have weaknesses, and quite a few of them. Our activities are limited to 4 countries so far and are relatively small scale, except for India. They're relatively small scale. So there's much need for wider upscaling, but with the proof of concept, it has become easier. Also, our activities has been focused majorly on ethno-veterinary practices and animal management. So much more is needed on other layers, like especially breeding, the breeding strategies also, so more is needed on these other layers. We are in very big need of the younger generation. We need more students, and so we also needed to come more into veterinary education. We have limited international training programs, but we are working on it so that we can offer international training program. We need to further detail and pilot for large-scale dairy, because that is only limited to the Netherlands, so much more is needed there. We also need to upscale into international livestock development institutes. We find that they're not yet working on it. Also, the institutes working on antimicrobial resistance, we have found that they are working more from top down on the control part, and they're not yet working bottom up on the solution side from farmers' perspective. So we need to upscale to international institutes working on livestock development, but also on AMR and climate change and that thing. So we also have limited linkage with dairy enterprise, except for India within the DB, but in the other countries, the linkage with dairy enterprise is still very limited. So we need to work more on that. We also need to work much more with veterinary and livestock education. It's not yet integrated into their education practices. We need to link more with government policies, but it's growing, but we need to link up more. And we need to focus more, I think, on natural control of parasites. And we need to have more, so internal, external parasites, because that is the next problem that is coming along. Resistance of parasites against, and then, of course, also resistance of fungi will also come in the near future. So those are weaknesses that I think we have. But I think our relevance is that we increase the resilience of the system, and especially farmer enthusiasm. That is really making our work relevant. Wherever we do this kind of work, farmers become so enthusiastic because they see their animals' health improved and their burden lessened, their economies improved. So the farmer enthusiasm, but it's more resilient. The cattle themselves are more resilient. They're more productive and they're more able to withstand the local challenges and climate and all of that. But the cattle health system is also more resilient because farmers are more independent by using herbal products and being able to make it on their farm. Farmers are more independent, so the system is becoming more independent. And also the livelihood and food systems are more resilient because there's more food produced, more food security in the face of climate change, all of those things. The women's role is strengthened. Also more resilient marketing because the consumers, they can confide in residue-free products. And that will help the marketing of local marketing and local farmers to market their products. And there's also more resilient human and animal health care because of reduced antimicrobial resistance. That's really an important aspect. But also importantly, more resilient environment. We have less chemicals in the soil, in the water, and biodiversity. We put less stress on the environment, and the environment can be more healthy. But also the more resilient country economics, because of improved dairy production, they need to reduce, they don't need to import so many dairy products. For example, in Ethiopia, this country depends a lot of input of dairy powder from outside, but now with the improved productivity, the reduced need to import dairy products is limited, is going down. Also veterinary medicine, less used and less imports needed. And finally, but importantly, it's also important in terms of climate change, because you have a lower CO2 footprint because of improved productivity. Improved productivity is one of the major ways to reduce the impact of dairy on the climate, and we have shown that it is not only the animal health that improves, but also the productivity itself. So for me, the relevance is increased resilience in many different ways. And the prospects, what we are planning to do and what we intend to do is to launch an international NLF training program for professionals and farmers We have already started that, but we need to upscale more. To upscale to more countries in the coming years, and to also strengthen the learning, South-South learning between, for example, Africa and India. That they take India as an example rather than the Netherlands, and that they learn from the Netherlands, the lessons learned from the Netherlands as well. So South-South learning and tripartite learning, India, Africa, and the Netherlands is one of the things we intend to do. Of course, including more student research on topics and more young people, expand the expertise to natural control of parasites, internal, external, for reduced use of antibiotics and insecticides. And then, of course, we really need to further verify the effect of the NLF methodology on climate change and on the environment, to have more numbers in terms of how much our approach supports the struggle to reduce climate change. And we aim to continue to offer online knowledge resources and free webinars. And if we hope, but that will take more time, to expand expertise and methodology to other species as well. So quite a long story, but oh la la, we're not going down now to the last one. Yes, so this is what I wanted to share with you. I hope it was not too long. Thank you very much.
No, not at all. It was excellent, and I think quite a bit of information you put in a very nice and effective manner. And since the group is very diverse, it was probably a challenge for you as well as for us to bring the things in a way so that it become much more communicative. Thank you, Dr. Katrien, for a very nice lecture. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And before I open the topic for discussion, I could see the participant, Dr. Ballabhai Kathiraji is also joined, who is one of the proponents for cow as a champion. Kathiraji, Dr. Kathiraji.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, yes. Very good morning there.
Good morning. Good morning. आप वीडियो ऑन कर दीजिए तो अच्छा रहेगा एक बार.
Okay.
हाँ.
Hello.
हाँ, नमस्कार सर. नमस्कार.
Namaskar, namaskar.
नमस्कार.
बहुत अच्छा रहा. Very nice to hear, madam. And congratulations. You have nicely talked about the natural livestock farming and what we are doing and we are expecting in post-COVID era. I think we will have to have a worldwide global movement. We will have to connect everybody in this venture of livestock farming. Basically, in India, we are promoting our indigenous cows, Indian cows, and they are, as you know, they are known as Brahmin cows or holy cows, much more better than the HF and Jersey cows also, much more productive in not only in milk and better milk, but in having bacterial load in cow dung, which is more useful for reducing a footprint, carbon footprint. Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yes, I was very happy. I have not. I was going through your slides also, and very wonderful. Let us hope we will unite together and we will expand our activities along with our under the leadership of Dr. Abhijit Mitra. आपको भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अभिजीत जी.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
You arranged such a nice webinar, and I am seeing that the Dr. Umesh Singh, Dr. Sushil ji, many known faces are there in our.
Yeah,
this,
Dr. Sadhana has also
debate.
joined. Dr. Sadhana is also joined. Dr. Nayar is here. So many people, and so I will now request. Thank you, Kathiraji. Thank you very much. I will open the topic for discussion and any question. So it is open to the audience. Please go ahead and ask your question, please.
Shall I add?
Not a
before-
matter of question.
Before,
In
okay.
fact, I want to congratulate the whole teams and Katrien especially for taking up this issue of natural livestock farming in such a big way and now expanding it. My compliments to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sadhana. Yeah, Dr. Nair, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just want to add a few more things with what Katrien has said, then we can have the discussion. One of the major problems which we are facing is that now we are asking the farmers to do it, but when we wanted to go for the product, there's a lot of problems are there. One is that we cannot validate the veterinary practices with the Western science. This is very difficult. There are some amount of transdisciplinarity is there. We are doing that. We have done some clinical trial. We have done some toxicology studies and all things we are doing. But to bring out a product as needed by the Western science protocol is one of the major problems. That is one of the problems. Second is that we need to make some product for the people to use it, because every time farmers may not be able to use it. Even though a small farmer, sometimes there's a restriction for getting the material and then make it and use it. So that we have to see that see that some products should be available in the market for people to use it whenever it is needed. That is one of the limitations which we have. Third is that it is extremely, I had to congratulate the Netherlands people. They have given us money for all this work. ETC as well as Netherlands, Dutch farm experience. We got very little money from Indian organization except for Department of Science and Technology to do any work on this on the larger scale. Most of our work is based on field, but we are now trying to do some work on the laboratory to support our field. This one. So one of the major restrictions are the funding problem for in India for upscaling it to a level where we can tell authentically with any people that this is very necessary to promote it. About the antimicrobial resistance, we have done a lot of work with the farmers. You know that I did one study. I am not telling which brand. I tested about 36 brands from the market. Out of that, 34 were full of antibiotics residue above the international level, not Indian level, except for one Amul Taja milk, which I did not find any antibiotic residue. Therefore, we went into, that's why I got a support from the Department of Science and Technology to find out, and that is the reduction of antibiotic residue by 87% in 3 years work, which we intervened. So therefore, more support. And then there's another very important thing which may not be pleasant to tell, that there's a big antibiotic lobby working, which is very difficult to sometimes get into the veterinary system. We have gone with the mainly we have gone with the 34 milk unions, and then Sikkim, Haryana, and then now going to be Punjab government. Otherwise, it is extremely difficult to get in the government system. Very difficult, especially the veterinary services. I tried in Karnataka, we failed. I tried in Kerala. Kerala, there was a veterinary council which was very supportive to us at that time. We trained about 80 veterinarians. We totally trained about 2,000 veterinarians and about 30,000 farmers. And the lucky part is that NDTB is part of our program. So we wanted to increase the number of farmers to a level where it should have a societal impact, so that it can people can realize the importance of this. So with this limited intervention of mine, as a supportive for, because there are a lot of other small problems which I don't want to discuss here. But these are some of the major problems which we are facing to make a product, to get a support for any more research. Funding. And these are the two major problems. And then, of course, there will be people who are against the system when you change the system.
Everything, there will be opposite lobby. Everything
that I am not much worried, because we have already got.
No, the resistance should be there, Dr. Nair. I think the resistance is good. If you have a resistance, it's good. No resistance means bad.
Yeah. So that's all I want.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nair, for putting up. And just for, I think many of us, we know, two things changed recently. One, Government of India, Veterinary Council of India has already formed a committee to develop a course on ethno-veterinary medicine so that it will be included as a course and curriculum in the BVNSC, Bachelor Degree of Veterinary Science. And Punyamurthy is one of the members, and many other are members. So that is one thing has happened recently. Second thing has happened recently also, ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, has issued an order and a circular to all the government institutions, universities, and ICAR Institute to promote natural farming. It does not say natural livestock farming, but they say natural farming. So when you say natural farming, it also includes, livestock. So there is a two major policy push has taken place very recently. That's a very welcome step. And as we are talking to our honorable parliamentarian Dr. Katrien, who is by profession, he is a cancer doctor for oncologist, and he also moved a very big program called GCCI, where bringing all the cattle thing in a more sustainable and healthy manner. We'll talk later on that. But because of his effort, when he was a chairman of Kamdhenu Ayog, there was a committee form which is called Sutra Peak. So there is some funding is coming from DST, DBT, and other scientific organization for taking up some research on this particular area. So we are a bit slow. We need not to be complacent, but things are happening. Before I call upon two more eminent person, one is Dr. MP Jadhav, who has been our director of Indian Veterinary Research Institute, Bareilly, and also a vice chancellor of Sardar Vallabhbhai University here. He is basically a virologist by profession, but he had some interest during his days on natural farming. Sir, Dr. Yadav, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Abhijit Mitra, and my regards, respect to all the eminent scientists and other people, Dr. Katrien, and particularly to Dr. Katrien for her very excellent presentation on a very important area, natural livestock farming, or it covers natural farming as such, but dealing with livestock. But I think what you call natural livestock farming is also an organic farming, or maybe some differences between these two, because the source of feed and fodder is important. Unless you have organic agriculture or natural agriculture, it will be very difficult to have organic or natural livestock farming. That is one thing. And in the ethno-veterinary medicine and practices, I think you should or might be having already homeopathy use. That is very effective. And when I was at IVRI, we conducted closed trials, structured trials with homeopathy medicines. And these medicines were compounds already available with a company based in Ahmedabad. And we have published it in the form of a booklet. And the results were very encouraging, particularly for the acute conditions. The homeopathy worked very well. And you mentioned about mastitis. Scientists at IVRI, they found Chenopodium, which is described in Ayurveda as a treatment for mastitis, and this is applied from outside on the just just a paste on the udder, and in the acute and you see when blood comes out from the teats, it was very effective.
Mhm.
So that's the magnet therapy and other things are there, and they could be the part of ethno-veterinary medicine.
Mhm.
Now the concept is important, and when we agree with the concept, then we find out ways and means how to establish it. Now you have talked AMR, that is also excellent point. But the question comes whether use of herbal medicine, we agree that herbal medicine, they have antibiotic, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and so many properties are there. But whether the use of herbal therapy or drugs will also produce resistance against these drugs.
Mm.
That is one question, and now there is evidence also. One of the Indian scientists, he has published some paper, he might be here in the audience, I'm not sure, that it did happen. So we have to have this point in our mind. Rather, we have to go on testing for the antibiotic resistance of the microbes, even while using the natural farming methodology.
Mm.
Then in COVID-19, you mentioned COVID-19 in your slides.
Mhm.
Now, in COVID-19, what I saw while searching literature for my doctoral program long back in 1960s. Now, I found that in Netherlands, in your native country, the scientists, they were using this approach in poultry farming. As we know that the importance of colostrum, so in the other animals, poultry, there is no colostrum. And they advocated that these chicks, young chicks, they should be exposed to the natural environment. You see dirt, dust, excreta, and all these things. So, and that is the concept of colostrum of the mother. That
Mhm.
shows that all the immunoglobulins which are there against the natural flora and fauna, and might be having the pathogenic bacteria also. So those all antibodies will be there.
Mm.
So colostrum feeding in time, all these concepts are very, very important, and you touched many of these, but always there is a scope for improvement, and working have to be continued. Now, one problem in COVID-19, the major problem was the lung inflammation, and the inflammation was much more than required. You see, in nature, there's a control phenomenon in the production of the immunoglobulins, immunoglobulin A, M, and G, and all these things. They have a check on each other. One will go down, another then will increase. But somehow this phenomena did not work in COVID-19 pathology, particularly in lung. And there was the clots of blood in the arteries, and thrombi was there. But herbal medicine can have an answer to that when it is required to be lowered, then because it is a mixture of things. So this is very excellent, you see, exposure for me. And I, being a virologist or microbiologist, I thought a number of times that whether that approach, exposing the young one to the environment. But this is there in the, you see, in the foals, the young ones of horse, in cattle, and in the young one of the human children. They have these habits to lick the fecal matter, to lick the soil, And I think
Mhm.
that is the purpose of the nature. So that they are exposed to the microbes in the
Yeah, yeah,
environment.
yeah.
And the innate immunity is very, very important. We know as immunologists, as a microbiologist, and there in COVID-19, they gave the term of trained immunity. Even if you have not been exposed to the particular, say, this COVID coronavirus, CoV2, but related viruses, and you might have been exposed. BCG vaccination. Now, these concepts are there. So you can have immunity from other, methods also. And for that, these medicines, herbal medicines, the immunomodulators, which strengthen your immunity, they are important. Even your
Katrien, sir, Dr. Katrien has also nicely, I think, pointed out that resilience of the breed or resilience of the livestock, what you are talking about, innate immunity.
Mm.
I think that is another area where we also must much more focus on, so that more resilient livestock as a genetic resource,
Yeah.
and then herbal thing, and a better managemental practices, and and many more such things in a totality will give us a better handle to reduce all those menace, use of antibiotics, use of acaricides, reducing the carbon footprint, so that livestock farming would be much more sustainable, profitable, and it will be much more environmentally friendly.
Mm.
That's what I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a long story. Thank you, Dr. Abhijit. Other people are also there. We may interact on email and other methods later on, but this is very important. And as you mentioned, it requires only not that 4 countries. It will require that much more countries they are involved.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of scope for this natural livestock farming or natural agriculture.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Katrien, I think there are a lot many questions I could see, but before, again, Dr. Hema Tripathi madam is here, and I remember that one of our student, she is actually basically working in the area of veterinary extension, and one of our or two of our students work on One Health approach and how reduced what is the role of overuse of anthelmintic and antibiotic and all that. And I'll be, I think, if I invite her and offer some a brief comment on over your lecture, that will be supplemented. So Dr. Hema Tripathi madam, are you still here? Dr. Tripathi? Hema madam? I could see her, but I think she's not responding. Anyway,
Okay.
Anyway, I think any other questions anybody is having?
Yeah, I saw a question here about a need to learn from ground level farmers and livestock keepers. I think that by DK Sadana. And I think this is a very important question, because that is exactly the basis of what we're trying to do, to build on farmers' knowledge and to bring it together with other knowledge, and to, in that way, continue building expertise based on local challenges and local practice. So I really agree with this question, and the challenge is how to bring that in, to learn from farmers and to collaborate directly with farmers, and how to bring that into the education and into the policies. That will be the big question. Yeah. But I really agree with the question. Yeah. Yeah.
I also appreciate, Katrien, I appreciate your structured presentation of the entire setup. In 5 layers, you have actually presented the total scenario very briefly. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And any other question? Dr. Shadana, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Amitabh, but now Saab is waiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can have, we are just having 10 minutes, 10 more minutes. So we can have some quick questions and quick, I'll just give one of my recent, very recent experience. I think Dr. Amitabh ji has raised your hand. Amitabh ji, just a minute, just a second. I will, before I tell you. So we run a all India research project on cattle. So this 1st and 2nd April, I had an opportunity to visit one of our unit in GB Pant University in Pantnagar, wherein we are having a field units. And one of the most common problem the farmers, they came forward with the, the mastitis. And they are telling that even some animals are showing the symptom mastitis before they are calving, just 2 to 3 days before calving, they are showing the symptom, and sometime one teeth become blind, and the recovery rate is not that good, so they are suffering. And what common practice we are doing is that routinely we are giving antibiotics and all those. And from there itself, I contacted Dr. Punyamurthy ji from sitting over there. And I talked to some of the farmers, very little I could speak, but I could find out that people are looking for alternatives. Farmers are willing to look for alternative because they have seen. So, but only problem is either it is not available to them, or if it is available, they are not bit hesitant. So little hand holding will be good. I could see here our PI from Pantnagar is here. Dr. Shivi Singh.
Sir, can I, you might
sure.
already discuss with the Punwar sir, but still I am telling, we can prevent mastitis by using our, this one. During
That's right. That's right.
That's what and we already now come up with a spray, which we can use it for 3 times. It will cure as well as prevention.
Spray, you are telling spray?
We have developed a spray now. It is in the field testing now.
So, okay, Dr. Nair, what we can do, we are having some field unit throughout our country. Like we have in Kerala, we have our Punjab, we have Uttarakhand, in Maharashtra, and Gujarat.
Okay.
We are having a huge network under the All India Research Project on Cattle. So if you can come forward and we have a separate discussion, not in this forum, and then we can include all those small but effective and very important component. And if we see that those are implemented in the farmer's doorstep, and record it, like their experience and feedback it, and I think that will be a very good initiative to start with. Let us think about that. Dr. Umesh. Dr. Umesh? Dr. Umesh Singh?
Yes, sir. That is very much important.
Yeah.
Our farmers, they are facing a lot of problems before calving, even after calving also.
Yeah.
I think that will be better if we can use this ethnomedicine. Already you have developed, already some medicines are available that can be used for getting the feedback. If these animals will be treated, I think that will be better. And I congratulate you, madam, for excellent presentation. Thank you all.
Dr. Umesh, what we'll do, we'll have a separate meeting, maybe in a couple of days, and we'll find out that how these things can be implemented in the AI-CRP unit. That could be one of the part of the technical program, small technical program, so that could be included. Okay.
Yeah.
Take a note of it. Yeah. So I'll just invite.
Just one query, Dr.
Sir.
Sorry for interruption. Dr. Katrien, I was thinking about vaccines, whether you permit in the natural livestock farming vaccine or not, and including bacteriophage therapy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think vaccines are very important. I don't see any problem with that. The whole issue, because you also mentioned homeopathy and all those things. for me, whatever farmers can use that is chemical free is excellent. As long as we support farmers and support the animal health in a way that that will be effective. That is basically the issue.
Thank
And
you.
one of the things I would like to stress in this audience is the importance of your Indian expertise for other parts of the world, because you have come along a long way by developing your smallholder dairy farming, and you have your lessons learned. You're talking a lot now about local breeds, but before it wasn't like that. It was more the crossbreeding and all of that.
Right.
Now, other countries in Africa, for example, but also in other parts, they are copying this whole issue of crossbreeding and wanting to, so they are copying problems. So it is really important to bring out your experience from India more to the rest of the world, and also your lessons learned, and also that's so they don't have to repeat that kind of problem. And I would really, that is why I think if we can have this south-south learning, that would be really excellent. And also to have this tripartite learning between, for example, Africa, India, and Netherlands. I really, I really appreciate the work that you have been doing in India, and that you have been able to maintain the smallholder farming and not replacing them all with large-scale farmers. That's really a big thing.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great, Katrien.
Yeah.
I think we have got 3 more panelists or participants who should speak. To start with, Madam Hema Tripathi, then followed by Dr. Amar Pachik Gaonkar, and then Amitabh ji. So, Hema ji, Dr. Hema.
Sir.
Yeah.
Actually, I would like to first congratulate to entire team and Madam Katrien for the nice lecture. She covered everything, so many things, the ethnoveterinary, the antibiotics and everything. So I want to congratulate. Actually, I have also, one of my students have done research work on the antibiotic usage pattern and the knowledge about the antimicrobial resistance in the livestock and poultry. So actually what he found that he not only taken the sample from the farmers, livestock owners, poultry farmers, sheep farmers, also from the paravet, veterinarians, and even the consumers were also. So the consumer's point of view is very important, and very interesting results came out. The one important, first I will tell about that what farmers do, what the paravets, they were one of the most frequently contacted formal sources of information regarding the disease control. And because they have lack of rapport and the poor contact with the veterinary doctors. So this is the high time so that we can create the awareness among the farmers about the existence of the so many other formal sources like KVKs. Everywhere the farmers are not aware about the many times the KVKs exist. Research institutes, ETIC, similarly the veterinary universities, from where they can get the needed information about the, especially for the animal husbandry and the health. So and many times the dairy farmers, they obtain the animal health services from the paravets and shepherd mainly treat the animals from their own experiences. So there is also a need, the extension point of view, we can say there is a need of developing the educational models and the specific extension strategies to create the awareness among the farmers to avail the right services at the right time and from the right person, addressing the burning problem of the antimicrobial resistance. Regarding the, as Madam has said, that withdrawal period, and the large chunk of the livestock farmers, they obtain the antibiotics over the counter, leading to a lot of malpractices on the usage of antibiotics. So there is a need to control the purchase of antibiotics over the counter through, we can make the strict vigilance over the illegal sale and the regular prescription audits that can prevent the malpractices doing by the non-qualified persons. As far as the consumers are concerned, it is very, very important to see that what actually they feel, what is their knowledge. So I found that the lack of knowledge of the consumers on the effect of AMR on the human health, and that leads to creating the adequate consumer consciousness. We can write the blogs, newsletters, mass medias by using the ICT tools. So the awareness and knowledge can be enhanced by creating the awareness campaigns on the effect of the AMR on the public health. So we can also keeping in view the problems, we can develop the educational material, and that can be displayed in the hospitals, pharmacy shops, along with the medicines. That will increase the awareness among the farmers or the public. Similarly, the social media is playing very crucial role these days, like the Twitter, Facebook, and it plays an important role in reaching the large number of the farmers. Many times I have seen that the consumers, they relied more on the visual attributes to assess the quality of the meat and eggs, and they were very less concerned about the residue substances in the animal food products. So there is a lack of quality concern, and the knowledge suggests the low level of the awareness among the consumers. So that this also this is our role here. We can say that the consumers in the city as well as in the rural areas, that should be made aware to read the labels on the products and the risk of consuming the products, and need to provide the adequate public information and the education about the food safety issues. So that is also very much important. So we can say that it is a multi-sectoral and a multi-dimensional approach is needed, so that we can address the challenges of these, especially the AMR. And a single organization or the discipline alone or solely cannot address this particular problem. It calls for the convergence of the State Department of Animal Husbandry, NGOs, animal welfare associations, veterinary institutes. So in order to, especially to fight this particular issue, that is the AMR effect. So such type of researches are very, very important. And as Madam has said, that the involvement of students, that is very important. So such type of convergence, such type of studies are required, like convergence analysis between the human health and the animal health professionals in perspective of the One Health can be taken. Similarly, the role of the, what is the role of the veterinary pharmacy shops in combating the antimicrobial resistance among the livestock and the other farming systems. So such, this is I wanted to communicate that this study has been conducted, and this we have applied for the Jawaharlal Nehru Award also, and we got very good finding, and everybody appreciates. So such type of researches are required, and the natural farming, natural livestock farming is really a very important area where we can promote to the farmers for the less use of the chemicals and others. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. I think you have told nicely about the need of the awareness, convergence, and role of students, and working together to promote natural livestock farming in one hand, and also creating a awareness about the all those evils which are creating a havoc in the livestock industry. Together will pave the way for sustainable livestock farming. Thank you, madam. I think I'll request
we will discuss it in the next meeting.
Yeah, right. Amar Pachagaurji, if you can hear me. If not, Amitabhji, please, you can.
Ji, sure. First of all, Dr. Mitra, thank you so much for this invite. And Madam Katrien, it was really nice to see and understand the perspective which you gave. On the specifications, the 5-layer project which you showed, that was really good. Nonetheless, we focus on, from India perspective, I'm talking, we focus on indigenous cattle. So I would like to bring over there, along with milk, the fourth layer which you are having milk. We would also like you to consider the cow dung and cow urine part of that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, so because that is in India. In India, we consider it bias, and on scientific front, cow urine is also used for medicinal use in dreaded diseases and all those things. So maybe the fifth layer of increasing income can be a bit enlarged with added addition of these two things. So as our chairman, Sri Dr. Vallabhbhai Kathiri, already informed that we are focusing on indigenous, total local cow based. I actually would invite you to synergize with us regarding this, so that we can take this to the next level. And yes, your point of sharing the goods from whatever India has learned with across the world. India, I think Abhijit ji also would agree to that, that India is ready to take that challenge and help across the world, and which the whole world is right now seeing also. Your focus on evils of chemical based things, I think that is a prominent thing where we can save humanity. I will not say only the cattle, because the percolation effect goes to, again, it is humans who are getting affected on that. So I just quickly will complete on this, saying that I welcome you all to have a synergy across the countries, and will be glad to connect with all of you, any of you, for this matter. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mitra.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amitabh ji. Imar sahab agar sun pa rahe hain, if not, then I think I leave it to Katrien again for your final comment, and then we'll please.
Hello.
Pachekar ji, please tell me. Katrien, 1 minute.
Why you are neglecting me?
No, I not neglecting you. I took your name 2-3 times. Probably.
Yes, but you know, I'm not so much literate in computer, so I was just waited for my daughter.
Oh, okay, no problem, sir. I extremely sorry. I took your name just now also. Please go ahead, sir. Make your video on if you can. Please go ahead. Tell yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I have one health. So I learned that the basic problem of feeding has been neglected, and so, you know, the Morrison feeding standard, whatever is the body weight to body weight. Sir, if you adopt a metabolic weight, then this problem of overfeeding, burning up whole of the mucous membrane of the ruminant goes, and then it is a reflex action reflected in hoofs, mastitis, all other problems, they originate from overfeeding of animals, just to exploit. And moreover, we have tried with ISKCON, all these their goshalas, we have conducted definite trials on homeopathic drugs, including preventive and combative, both of these. One more simple method we have evolved is cud inoculation. Wherever there is a ruminal dysfunction due to antibiotics or anything, just introduce while ruminating the cud of the healthy animal to the cow. The moment it is introduced, whole of the microflora is restored. So this has been going on. This is going on with the ISKCON people. They have developed one box provided with 50 medicines, right from emergency to owner or the whatever the animal. So this is going on. This is because the time is short, I cannot just give these details, but I am available with the ISKCON people also. I can share with you. Thank you.
Great, sir. That's great. Please please leave your, please, I think Dr. Sadhana has your number. Dr.
Yes,
Sadhana?
yes.
Sadhana, sir? Or if you can read it your phone number, sir, I will just note it down.
Sir, thank you. 93
93
72
72
95
95
49
49
99.
I'll just repeat it, sir. 9372 954999.
Yes, sir.
Your email ID, sir?
M.
Uh-huh.
Pachegaonkar, PACHEGAONKAR
Okay.
@gmail.com.
Sure, sir. I will just right after the end of this program, it is my responsibility to contact you and listen to you carefully what you have done and what we can do together.
Okay, sir.
Let me tell you, this institute and all of us, whoever joined this program, our only one aim and one goal, that is sustainable natural livestock farming, so that farmers are benefited at the end of the day, and this earth, this planet become livable for our future generation. I think we have no second goal for that. So, sir, I'll contact you. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Now I'll hand over to Katrien for her final remark. Katrien.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. It was really good to see all these different remarks. And also thank you, Dr. Nair, for adding your points that should be included more into this presentation. I was really touched also by the words of Dr. Amitabh Bhatnagar just now, because this the issue of cow's urine and cow dung and the practices from in India from that are also, actually we should include that more into our work, and that would be, but there may be so many more other practices so valuable, and we've only been able to get a few of it, but it's really, really impressive what can be done, and that there's so much can be shared from India to other parts of the world. So I really welcome your invitation to bring this more into synergy with this organization, and so I'm really happy with the outcome of this meeting, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunities of sharing this, and I hope we will be in touch. Perhaps we can share experiences in a more regular form, and yeah, and upscale this in a more rapid way, because it's needed in the world also.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Sushil, I hand over to you and a formal vote of thanks, then we are done. Sushil ji.
Dr. Mitra, could
Yes,
I
sir,
just inform to this house? You mentioned this Sutra pickup projects.
Right.
We have sanctioned and cleared 5 projects now under ICAR system, and this include the medicinal property of dung and urine as well.
Sir.
Okay.
And we got one project. Our institute got one of that, sir.
Yes. So
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are one of those 5, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be coming forward with many more projects, sir. We'll start it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sushil ji, thank you very much, sir.
At the end of this excellent seminar, I would like to thank my sincere thanks to Dr. Katrien for her excellent presentation and giving example of the different countries, what work has been done and what were the results. This will definitely increase the awareness and the interest of the natural farming, and India maybe become the leader in the world in natural farming, as we are already practicing the many of the natural veterinary medicines and herbal medicines are used in our livestock. And I am thankful to the different audiences, eminent audiences, Dr. MP Yadav, former Vice Chancellor and Director IVRI, Dr. Katrien, former chairman Kamdhenu Ayog, Dr. Balakrishnan Nair, Madam Chanda Nimkar, Madam Hema Tripathi, Dr. Amitabh Bhatnagar, and many of our colleagues joined from the NGOs, veterinary universities, I.R.स institutes, and I fail in my duty if I don't sincerely thank to our colleague, the head of the divisions of our institutes and our scientific colleague in helping and organizing this seminar. And the last, I would like to thank our director, Dr. Ajit Mitra ji, for his constant encouragement and arrangement for making this webinar successful. Sir, I am thankful to you, and I am thankful to all those who have joined this webinar. And in future also, we'll be organizing many of such seminars. So I would request to join.
Yeah, thank you. And our next topic is science and Swami Vivekananda. So we'll be having this topic in the last week of this month, somewhere in between 20 to 25th. We are trying to bringing in different people from the diverse society, so that we are not left alone. So let us also awaken our spirituality. Our mind is also become. So next topic, he is a president of Aditya Ashram of Ramakrishna Mission, Mayavati. So the president, he would be speaking on Swami Vivekananda and science on between 20th to 25th of this month. And we'll be sending you the notice, and let's see how it goes. Thank you very much, sir, all of you, madam.
Yeah, thank you.
And namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.